Hey, so I said I'm making lasagna for the kids. So part of lasagna is the bolognese sauce, the pasta, and the bechamel sauce, or the white sauce that goes with it. So I thought I'd show you how to make white sauce, because I know for a fact it was something that I was quite scared of doing for a long time, because I think it had all these connotations of people telling me that it would go lumpy, that it wouldn't be good, that it was hard, it would stick to the bottom of the pan or burn, blah, 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 blah. And I have just found that not to be true. And I also found that people would tell me that it had to be super accurate, or it wouldn't thicken enough, or it would be too thick and all the rest of it. I've also found that not to be true. So traditional bolognese bechamel is, I have been taught from a very young age that it was 50 grams of butter, 50 grams of flour, and half a litre of milk. So I don't follow that really, to be honest. I always use more butter than flour, because I find that it is easier to introduce the liquid of the milk into the flour and butter mixture if it's a bit runnier, and it just makes it a bit richer and a bit nicer anyway, because honestly I don't think you can have too much butter in anything. That's my theory anyway. So here's my little trusty butter container. Now, we've used a little bit of it for breakfast, but so 250 grams is what this block would be if it was complete. So I'm going to use just a titch more than half of it, so it's about 150 grams, I think you would call that. And I'm going to turn this on. On medium, because I don't want it to burn. So I'm going to melt that butter, and then what I'm going to do is add the flour. So here's my little secret to measuring flour. I've got a soup spoon. So I've done this a million times and measured it, and it's so close. So a really heaped soup spoon like this is about 50 grams. So I'm going to show you. So that's on 0. I'm going to put that on the scales. That says 44 because I just lost a little bit. So it's so close to 50 grams, it's not funny. So instead of measuring, so it can go 1, and I'm going to do another one. So I want about 100 in there. Alright, get rid of those things so we don't need them. Don't waste the flour. Alright, so now all I'm going to do is whisk the butter and the flour around together. So I want to show you, because you can't see this, I want to show you how loose this mixture is. Now if you're doing 50 grams or equal flour and butter, this would be really stiff, and it would really increase your chances of having a really lumpy white sauce or bechamel sauce once you started to add your milk. Oh, I'm so hopeless at closing cupboard doors. Look, hopeless. I don't know what it is about doors and me, I just don't ever close them behind me. It's weird. Even my wardrobe doors downstairs, there's another door over there behind the camera. It's wide open, my linen cupboard. Well, I really need to work on that. Okay, so I am just cooking this off on a medium heat, I don't know, for about a minute, I guess, and it's just cooking out the flour. So you want to make sure the flour's cooked, otherwise you can get like a bit of a funny texture, like a bit like a floury texture, I guess you'd say, and also not as nice. So I guess the cooking of the flour gives it more of a nutty, toasty flavour, which adds richness into your bechamel or your white sauce, whatever you want to call it. So that is probably about right. Now, what I am going to do now is I'm going to add about half of this straight in. again, by adding that straight in, it cools the pot down, and also the more liquid there is to mix that flour and butter mixture with, the less chance it will go lumpy. So you can see here now, it's just a thickened mixture, really. That's it. It's starting to thicken already as it gets warmer. So now that I've mixed all of that through, I'm going to pour the rest of that milk in. And now, what I need to do is I need to bring that up until it boils. Oh, actually, I'm going to tell you one more secret. So another thing that a lot of recipes will tell you is that you have to warm the milk before you add it into here. Again, not necessary. I can tell you what that does. It creates more washing up. And no one wants more washing up than when you're making a lasagna, because lasagna makes heaps of washing up, so you don't want to add an extra bowl to that. And it's just not necessary. I think, if you're sticking to the rule of 50 grams of butter, 50 grams of flour, half a litre of milk, I think you probably would need to warm it up, because the cold hitting the hot, it would go and suck it all together, and it would probably be lumpy. Yeah, so by bending my rules, by making 150 of butter, 100 of flour, and a litre of milk, which for me, this is enough to make a really nice big lasagna, like enough for 8 people. I've got a pretty big lasagna tray, and I don't think you can make too much lasagna because it's always going to get eaten, right? Leftover lasagna is the best. But you can halve this recipe. It's not going to do any harm to halve it. Now, the other thing that I was told is that you have to keep constantly stirring. And I don't believe that is the case either. If you were to slowly drizzle the milk in little bit by little bit and mix, then you would. But because we put it all in at once and we really combined that flour and milk together, it's already combined that milk. So as it comes up to heat, it's already combined. You don't need to constantly mix it. It's not going to go lumpy now. Okay. So a few other things that I need to tell you is Bechamal loves salt. So I'm going to put half of that in, which is probably a heaped teaspoon in there. Also, cracked pepper. I cannot get enough cracked pepper in a bechamel sauce. I just think it goes really, really well together. If you don't like cracked pepper, don't add it, doesn't matter. I just think the flavour, there's something about the creaminess and the, I want to say earthiness, and I really want to say pepperiness, but that's kind of not appropriate given it's pepper. Just that earthy floralness of the pepper that kind of cuts through the fat of the bechamel sauce and makes it not quite as rich, I think. And you can tell that I like a lot by the amount that I put in there. Okay, so my bechamel is starting to come to the boil. So now that it's got a few bubbles in it, I am going to give it a little stir, just along the bottom, just to make sure that it's not sticking, and it's not come quite up to the boil yet, but it's not far off. Oh, it's nice and it's getting nice and thick now. It's nearly there. Bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. So once your bechamel reaches boiling point, it's not going to get any thicker. That's it. You've reached the maximum amount of thickness that you're going to get. Right? So it is bubbling and popping away now. I am going to turn it off. And I'm going to show you the thickness. See? Beautiful. Perfect. Alright. So, if you want just a plain white sauce, I'm going to taste it for salt. It's actually the perfect amount of salt. if you want just a plain white sauce, maybe to put over some cauliflower or like throw some parsley in that and put it over corned beef. Oh my god, that's like the best thing ever. So you can keep this as your basic white sauce, but because it's for lasagna, I am going to add a little bit of nutmeg. You don't have to have these nutmeg balls and do this. You can just buy nutmeg already ground. And I don't know, I'd probably put, in this amount, I'd probably put half a teaspoon. Actually no, I wouldn't. I'd probably put a quarter of a teaspoon. Nutmeg's pretty, it's a pretty strong spice. You don't need a lot of it in order to get the flavour. And you don't want your lasagna to taste like nutmeg. You just want a nice hint of it in that bechamel sauce. And it just, I don't know, just takes it to the next level, you know. Just a little bit of spice. So I have probably used about half that lump of nutmeg, and that's probably about a quarter of a teaspoon, I would imagine. Give that a little stir through. And then cheese. So I've got about 3/4 of a cup of cheese here, and it's a mixture of Parmesan, Tasty, and mozzarella. But you could use just Parmesan, you could use just Tasty, or just mozzarella. I'm using that because I happen to have some pizza cheese left over, and that's what's in pizza cheese. So if you want to buy pizza cheese, that's perfect. You can see now, see how beautiful and thick that is. Lovely. Done. So now you know how to make a bechamel or white sauce. You can put it on anything pretty much. That, if you take the nutmeg away from that, you could even leave the nutmeg in it. That is the best, makes the best cauliflower cheese. We just, you cook your cauliflower in the microwave till it's par cooked, put it in a oven-proof container, pour this over the top of it, sprinkle some cheese over the top of that, put it in the oven and roast it until that top is beautiful and brown, and you stick a knife in it, and the cauliflower's done. Oh my god, the best cauliflower cheese. It's always on my Christmas table, cauliflower cheese. It's the best. Anyway, enough about white sauce and cauliflower cheese. That is how to make bechamel sauce.